Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is writing sprint time, or at least it is writing sprint time for you guys. For me, it is going to be admin time, I think, because last night I finished doing all of my revisions to Act 2, and I set up all of my Act 2 beta read feedback stuff, and I have sent Act 2 off to the beta readers, and I'm sitting here, and a part of me is just like, I should keep revising it, but a part of me is also like, at this point, there is nothing that you can do to Act 2 that is going to substantially change what you've done to it. So it is out of my hands now. It is over to the beta readers, and if they like it, they like it. If they hate it, they hate it. And I'm just gonna, it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to deal with whatever comes back. And at that point in time, I can think about and panic what I'm gonna do with beta read revisions. But for now, Act 2 is done with alpha revisions, and my other alternative to doing more admin and stuff would be to start on Act 3 revisions, which is it's a bit of a mess right now. I think where I am is I have probably the first 10 or 11,000 words of Act 3 are good. I probably need a new intro to Act 3 to cover a bit more of the time skip between Act 2 and Act 3 properly, and then I will need about, I think I'm going to need about 15,000 new words, 10 or 15,000 new words, new sequence to just kind of bridge between the end of the first sequence in Act 3 to the very final confrontation sequence. And then after that, I have 33,000-ish words all at the end, which are going to need catastrophic revision pretty much. So the sequences in there are they're fine at the structural plot level, but like none of it works on an individual line level. So it's going to be a really brutal rewrite. And I have at least figured out the ending of where things are going to be, because it is going to be a lead into the scene or sequence, like a 28k word sequence that I shoved off into the next book. And then I have not figured it out, the final confrontation, because I've now changed a whole heap of things in Act 2, and I kind of need to somehow get it to all magically come together. And right now it is just a problem that is too big for my brain, and I can't deal with it, so I'm gonna go and deal with admin. That is my plan. Let's see who else is here. We have Steven here, we have David here, we have Isashi here, who has been going slow and steady with 1,303 new words already today. We've got Jim here, hello. We've got Elaine, who also needs coffee. And oh, David is going off to his job interview in 10 minutes. Good luck, David. I hope it goes well. Jim has been waiting for years of paperwork. Oh no, that paperwork is the absolute worst. And Elaine also says, I don't know what I'm doing. Probably admin. Nice. Alright, guys. I am going to put 2 hours on the clock, and may we all make those 2 hours as productive as we possibly can. Let's go. is up? How are you guys doing? I have written some words on annotations, so I have done I've done like a bunch of random admin. I have entered one of those book award things that I'm just a bit like, I don't know how worthwhile this is, but seeing that I have spent more or about the same amount of money in sending physical arcs as I did entering this contest, I was like, you know what, like, it's fine. I'll try it out and just see what happens. Like, it's actually better odds than what I would get entering the self-published fantasy blogger, so we shall see. We shall see if anything comes of it. I am not expecting anything to come out of it. I'm basically writing off that 53 Australian dollars as just like, as I would write off like a physical arc that gets sent out, because, you know, like you never know if any reviews are actually guaranteed as a result. But I did that. I fixed up an annotation I'd started last time but had not actually fully finished and scheduled, and I've gotten a decent way into a new annotation, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling in control. I'm feeling optimistic because I have sent my Act 2 chunk of the manuscript off to my beta readers, and I'm just like, now I'm just like on tenterhooks, like waiting for their responses. And Google Docs does like this thing where when you send out a document, right, like you get these, you know, individual email notifications whenever somebody comments on it. And I have not been able to find a setting where you can turn that off by default because it emails you every single time. The thing is, like, once the notification email comes through, there's like a little bell thing that you can click on the email to turn it off. But you can't do that by default in the general document settings, or at least I have not been able to find that particular document setting, which is very, very annoying because it's just like every single time I have beta readers going through the document, like I see the email notifications come through on my phone, and like you can't help but like look at it because, what are they saying? Like, how are they feeling? Is any of this landing with them? And especially when they get chatting to each other, and you just like, you start seeing the email notifications come in, and they're like, and just constantly pinging you, and I'm just like, oh god, like it is very, very bad for me to like sit here and obsess over it. And yeah, but anyway, let's see how you guys did. So Amanus is at 5,700 words for the day. Oh my goodness, that's so good. And David says, I did a thing in outright Amanus by like minus 5,300 words. Nice. One of those negative word count days. I feel the pain. I definitely do. Elaine has done 1,321 words and did some admin-y stuff, which is awesome. And Stephen has finished the Just Jacket. Yay, that's super cool. Christina asks, what software am I using to write in? So I write, depending on what I write my manuscript in Google Docs. Google Docs is just, it's the easiest way to share things with my alpha readers and my beta readers. And I also use Vellum for typesetting my book. And so Vellum makes it very easy to just dump as many documents in as possible. And so what I do is I write each chapter in an individual Google Doc. I share I put them all into like one directory, and I share that directory with my alpha readers. So my writing group gets one link. It's the link to my entire folder of all the draft chapters, and they pretty much just, they work through the chapters, like they get to whichever chapters they get to whenever they get to it. Like we're pretty relaxed about it, like, because most of us are working parents, and therefore we just kind of, we fit in the writing group crits whenever we can fit it around, you know, life and stuff. My beta readers, when I do my alpha revisions, I start a new folder. So you know what, I should just take you guys through my setup, because like that would actually make more sense if you can actually see. So this is like my setup for book 1. So as you can see, every single stage of the book gets like a separate folder. So the alpha read here is basically every single chapter that I wrote individually. And then from the alpha read, I go to the beta read. So when I start doing beta revisions, what I basically do is I make a copy of the alpha read version, and I go back to the beginning and I start revising from there. So that's pretty much how I do the beta read. And then once I've finished with the chapter, I create the beta read survey feedback stuff and the instruction doc and everything, and I basically run my beta read. Post beta read, I do the same thing again. So I start a new folder and I do my sorry, that's actually the wrong folder. I do my post beta read revisions, right? And then it's the same thing. I number all of them. And then what happens after this is once I'm post beta read revisions, I download every single document in here. I throw it all into Vellum. I do my line edits in Vellum, and then I spit out, like, I basically do my proofreading in Vellum as well. For book one, I had every intention of like actually doing a proofreading spreadsheet. So I've done proofreading for the other authors in my writing group before, and usually what I do for them is I set up like a proofreading spreadsheet where we literally go through, we split up the chapters and we proofread it, and we, flag issues as we go. I didn't end up doing that for myself because it was just like I was doubling up on the work. It was easy for me to see the proofreading issue and just like change it directly in Vellum when I saw the issue. And so I do my proofreading in Vellum, and then I technically do have a folder for like just the published files, just so I kind of have it there easy to refer to. But yeah, that's basically what I use. I know other authors do use like one Google Doc for their whole manuscript. I don't like to do that because one, Google Docs gets very, very laggy once you kind of go over like around the 5,000 word mark. Like you can kind of get up to, you can get up to like several 100,000 words and still be okay, but it is extremely laggy to load. And what I've found as a beta reader, like going through somebody's entire manuscript in one Google Doc, it is hard for me to jump around if they have not formatted the manuscript using using properly formatted headings that show up in the navigation pane. And the whole thing just takes like ages and ages and ages to load, especially when I'm beta reading on Google Docs. It's nice for me to be able to do it on mobile because if I can, I just get through the manuscript a lot more quickly. So that is what I'm using to write in. If you're asking about my annotations that I was working on, that's just the back end of WordPress. I use WordPress for my author website. I highly recommend it. It is very adaptable. It's open source. It is like it is pretty much like the cheapest setup that I have. I have a whole video on my YouTube channel about how I set it all up, and you can go watch that if you're interested. But yeah, I quite like WordPress now where it is, but the way I've got my setup done, you do need to be reasonably comfortable with setting up like all of the back-end stuff, because it like the way I've got it set up, it's my own installation on my own web server, and so I've got a web server like the setup process is through a command line rather than just like a one-click kind of done for you thing. So it takes a little more effort, but it is a lot cheaper. Like I don't pay any sort of monthly cost for it. I pay for my domain name basically, and I only pay for web hosting usage for whenever I actually get traffic to my website. And there is a very, very low cost, like just a daily cost of like a couple of cents for the database usage and stuff like that. Let's see. Steven says, the thing is I use huge files for KDP, but their templates Ingram sent are tiny in comparison, and they don't look big enough to result in a high quality print to me. And I don't want to find out that with a proof copy, which I bought, and then having to shell out another $25 to re-upload newly made versions that are properly sized. Okay, so I have opinions on this. With Ingram Spark, my opinion is always that like they don't charge the $25 USD revision fee until you approve the electronic proof. And so what I always do is I always like check the electronic proof like 50 billion times before I approve it. And you know, it's not that I always get all of the errors, like sometimes I don't get them and I still have to like do the revision fee, which is why I join up with one of the author associations where like they will waive the cost of that fee for you as part of like the annual membership benefits and stuff. Because really, like if you're doing more, like this is the way around it, right? Like, so title setup fee on Ingram Spark is $50, and then revision fees are $25 a pop, right? And if you're going to do both a paperback and a hardcover, which there's no reason you should not do at least one, because like Ingram Spark is basically the main distribution for like everybody, like every single service out there that does print distribution is basically partnering with Ingram Spark. So if you're going through D2D's print or KDP's expanded distribution, like or Barnes & Noble, like all of them on the back end just basically use Ingram Spark. So you may as well go direct to Ingram Spark instead of paying all those places like a 10 to 15% cut for, you know, being a middleman. And so like if you're setting up both a paperback and a hardcover, like you're already at $100 for the setup, and most of the author organizations, like the annual membership fee is about 100 USD every single year. And part of the benefit is you get 60 uses of like free codes to waive all of the Ingram Spark title and revision fees. And like if you're like me, the first time you do it, like you are gonna screw up. It doesn't matter how careful you are in checking over everything, like inevitably you're gonna screw up somewhere with a file. And so like for me, I think before I hit approve and enable distribution on like my very first kids book, I think I had like 3 revisions on like my files, because I just kept going, oh shoot, like I didn't do the margin and the bleed here properly, or oh shoot, like there was a typo here, or oh shoot, an ARC reviewer just told me on like, you know, the week before publication that there is like a critical flaw in one of the pages and I have to like make a change. Like something is gonna come up. And so like I'm really glad I paid for the membership fee, because it meant like I didn't have to pay those revision fees. Like even if I approved it, like the only time that really got annoying was when I went over like the 5 uses per month, and then I actually had to wait until the next month before I could like use the code again to waive the revision again. But like if you have I don't know about like these Ingram templates, but like what I have found, like for prose novels and stuff like that, it doesn't, like, it's not so, it like the template itself is not really the issue. Like the issue where you're going to have quality, like print quality issues, is if you have images in your PDF print file, you need to make sure they are included in CMYK color, first of all, if you're going to do color and not just black and white. And also you need to make sure the images you're including are high-res ones at minimum 300 DPI. If it's not at 300 DPI or PPI, whichever one it is, like for printing, like, and I know there's like a complicated graphic designer thing about like DPI versus PPI, but like it needs to be 300, like whatever you're using. Otherwise, it is going to come out blurry and pixelated and stuff like that. And like, what else was there? Like the thing with software like Vellum and stuff like that is that if you put in chapter headers and stuff like that, Vellum will code the EPUB or the ebook file in a way such that you only include that graphic like once. It's not going to embed it multiple times. Whereas I have seen with other authors in my writing group, like when they're using, you know, Microsoft Word or something like that, Word is not smart enough to optimize the HTML code inside the XHTML code inside the EPUB to point to like just the one image file. What it's going to do is if you have 30 chapters and you're using 30 chapter headers, but even like if they're all the same, like the same picture, it's just going to include 30 image files all at 300 DPI. And then your EPUB file is going to like massively bloat, which doesn't matter for the print file. Like the print file will turn out the same. Like the pretty much every single platform will take a print file, a PDF of whatever size, because they just expect like the PDF's going to be a big file for, you know, print quality with like high-res image files in there and stuff. But the EPUB is going to be bloated as hell, and then Amazon are going to charge you massive download fees for all like the file sizes that you have. So this is where I'm a bit like, I highly advocate using a really good typesetting software. I know Vellum is very, very expensive to begin with, and I know it's Mac only, but it is like, it makes things so much easier. I cannot stress how much easier that it makes the whole process. Anyway, Usashi says, "I'm still awake. Is that an accomplishment?" To that, I say yes, because last night I had absolutely terrible sleep. I think I went to sleep at I went to bed sometime around 1 a.m. because I was just sitting there obsessing over the chunk of the manuscript I had sent off to beta readers, and I was just sitting there obsessively reading it over, just changing tiny words here and there. It's just I had to stop myself and just go to bed. Except when I went to bed, my daughter was not having a good night of sleep, so she was rolling around in bed whimpering. I don't know if it was nightmares or just she's uncomfortable, she's coming down with something. But anyway, I didn't think I got any sleep last night. Well, maybe half an hour of sleep, somewhere between 4:30 and 5 a.m. So I think staying awake is a huge accomplishment, and if I do not pass out at some point today before the sun sets, I will also consider that a huge accomplishment. Christina has done 365 words in 20 minutes, which is amazing. That is so good. And meanwhile, we also have praise for Scrivener from David and Yusashi. I think, I haven't tried Scrivener. I know a lot of people swear by it because you get the benefit of having not only the organizational tools for the writing side, but you're writing, it's an all-in-one one-stop shop, and it also produces all of the print files and stuff around it. The thing that makes me not want to use those tools is, one, you guys have seen how much outlining does not help me. I honestly feel none of those tools would help me per se. So even if I had Scrivener, I would probably not use any of them. I would probably try it just because I organizational tools, they're pretty, they're cool, they have nice little I don't know, I think Scrivener has the card view, or was it the timeline view? I don't know, it has some cool dashboardy visualization thing that I always look at other people's and I'm that looks so cool. And I would probably try to use it and then just set it up and then give up halfway and then just abandon it when inevitably I just I start writing new prose, and it just it just goes to a different place from what I had outlined. But the other thing that I don't use these tools for, and why I wouldn't want to use these kinds of tools for in writing, is the version control. The version control would, I think, just drive me mental. So there is one of the other authors in my writing group. She is writing in Pages. So she's actually writing in Pages, and she has a very, very comprehensive file versioning system in there that I completely do not understand, because she keeps different increments of different drafts and different versions of chapters, and then chapters get shuffled around and renamed, and then so she put things in her Discord channel, which is chapter 12 chapter 12 version 3.5, whatever, and the versions are different because not every chapter gets revised the same, right? But her process means she has to do this very complicated thing. She writes in Pages. She has a local copy. The local copies get backed up to a backup server somewhere, and then I think also in the cloud somewhere. And then she has to export a version of that for us to review, which she puts up on Google Drive into she converts it into a Google Doc so that we can comment on it. And then when she actually makes revisions, instead of just revising on a copy of the thing that we've done, she has to open our commented version side by side with her Pages version. Then she makes the changes in the Pages version, but sometimes she's already been making changes there, and we've commented on, and it's just, the whole thing is a version control nightmare. And I, as an auditor, I'm just multiple versions bad, multiple versions and lack of clarity around which version is the current source of truth, bad. There needs to be one single source of truth, so that you don't lose work, because having multiple sources of truth means it's an admin nightmare, and stuff is going to get lost, and it's it's the kind of situation where you're just like, it's not just about losing the writing, like the prose that you've written, right? Like I live in fear of losing feedback. Like I don't want to lose alpha feedback. I don't want to lose beta feedback. All feedback is important to me. I want to make sure that, you know, the feedback that I need to address gets addressed, and the feedback that I have decided not to address, you know, is really, it's a decision I'm making, and I'm okay with, you know, having people give me that feedback like publicly in reviews. So that's my nightmare, because I'm just like, oh god, Scrivener, I would have to export stuff into docs and then upload it to Google Drive, and then I would have to upload it back. I mean, I'm just like, oh god, like I don't want to deal with any of that. Oh man. David says, Scrivener actually does have like a million really cool tools that I don't use, but if someone were to teach me, I'd gladly use. I think there are a few YouTubers who have done like Scrivener tool stuff that they find super handy, that you can look up and see what they're up to. And meanwhile, I've missed Stephen's message. That's the plan. KDP and Ingram for wide distribution. Well, it should work out for you, I think. If the proof copy you ordered is mostly text, like it will be fine. If you've messed up the resolution on the graphics, it will be clear on proof as well. But honestly, if you messed up the graphics, it would be obvious in the electronic proof as well, because like there's like on my screen at least, when I look at it, like you can see that the super high res stuff is like, it's noticeably sharper and clearer than like the low res stuff. So fingers crossed, I hope it works out when you get your copy. Isashi says, my Scrivener looks like a mess, but it works for me. Well, maybe. Sometimes I feel like that stuff is just a waste of time, but if it helps, it helps. Yeah, like honestly, anything that makes you that helps you get words on the page is a win. I'm currently panicking because I'm like, I'm going camping. Should I bring like a hard copy of what I've actually written and like actually obsessively read it over Act 3 and think about how I can salvage it, or should I just like, you know, leave everything at home and just go off camping and not think about the book consciously for 2 days? Like just you know, it's not a huge amount of time, just like 2 days. Maybe like taking a 2-day break would just be a good thing for me to just mentally refresh and stuff like that. But anyway, I say this as I was lying in bed at like 1 a.m. last night, listening to my daughter roll around, like possibly from nightmares or bad dreams, and just thinking like my brain's just going the whole time going, you need to write a new break into 3. You can probably like change this sequence here. You have this sequence here that really doesn't work. What about this world building problem over here? And I couldn't stop. It was terrible. It was so terrible. Meanwhile, Isashi says, no, you should take a break and enjoy camping and have fun. Yeah, that is probably the smarter thing to do. We actually haven't started packing yet, and it is looking like good weather outside. It is like all blue skies, no clouds. Actually, no, I can see a small white cloud off on the horizon there, to the northwest, which is the direction in which we are going to be driving for camping. So fingers crossed that we're going to have good weather. We have done no packing, so it is, oh my goodness, it is like 20 past 8. I need to go and get breakfast sorted and also packing sorted, because we have done no packing, and I should probably be panicking about the lack of packing right now. So thank you guys for joining me. I am so glad to be done with revisions. I am glad you guys were here with me and got done with your work. Good luck to David with all his interviews, and good luck to everybody else with your writing. And I will see you guys not tomorrow, not Monday, but Tuesday, Sydney time, which will be Monday for the rest of you guys who are not in the Eastern Hemisphere. And we'll get more writing done together then. Bye, guys!